Welcome to video number 3 in how to make a coin ring. This is all of the tools that I currently use to make all of my rings and the one that I'm most excited about showing you. The first thing that you'll like to hear is that all of our hammers, mallets, and mandrels are now no longer needed. Let's get started. So these are going to be the main two tools that you use. Right here is a 1-ton arbor press, and right here is a ring stretcher and reducer. There are some other tools that we'll be showing you along the way, but these are the main two tools that you're going to want to make high quality stuff. When you get into the Morgan dollars and the 1-ounce silver rounds, you're going to need to get yourself a 3-ton press. First things first, we got to find the exact center of our coin, and how we did that again is we measured how big our coin is, how big is the punch that we're going to be using, added those two together, and then divided by half. Dialed the halfway calculation into our digital caliper, went like this on the coin, drew a line on the inside mark, and then just kept rolling it around and around and around until we found exactly where the die is going to go. Let's get it lined up. Now, as you can see, I've got it centered up in my hole right here, and then what I'll do is I'll put it in my arbor press and get it lined up, and then we'll jump in from there. Now I've got my arbor press lined up on top of my punch and die, and this is a 1-ton arbor press. If you can afford it, get the 3-ton arbor press, because that way you don't have to put the cheater pipe wrench on it. The nice thing about this is you're not using a hammer, and the coin's not jumping around. So let's get this thing punched out. And then just follow it through. So now, as you can see, I punched the center out of it. There is the center that punched out. Here is a half round file. What I'm going to do is take my digital caliper and make sure that it's perfectly even all the way around. Any of my high points, I'm going to take the half round file the inside until it's perfectly round, and we can get started from there. I promise you it will turn out the absolute best that it can doing this way. So now when I measured it, I found out that I was a 1/2 millimeter bigger on the bottom than I was on the top, which seems pretty insignificant, but in the end it makes a big difference. So I spent the time with my half round filing it down, and now I am exactly and perfectly round. We can now move on. Another thing that I had forgotten to point out is when you take the time to have your needle file and you sand the entire inside, you're actually getting ahead of the game by taking out any of those micro tears that you had put in there. Now at this point we're going to put it back into the doming block, date down because we want that to be on the outside of the ring. We'll line it up, put a dap right there, and then use the press to push it down in one motion. If you're going to be doing silver coins, you're going to want to take a piece of leather, put it on the inside, and then another piece of leather and put it on the top to protect any of the writing. But it's just a common copper coin and we're moving along, so I'll get this lined up and we'll tune in there. Alright, we are all lined up, and now we will compress the coin. And in one smooth, even shot, look how nice that turned out. Now, just like in our second video, we were inside this one of our doming block, and then we just take it down to the next size smallest that we can fit into. If at any point you find your coin rides high on the doming block, don't try to force it in. All you're going to do is you're going to peel everything off of your coin, learn from my hard mistakes. For right now though, we'll put it into the one that does fit, push it down a little more, and spend a little more money. So when your doming block no longer works, what do? You go to a machinist and have custom milled pieces cut out for you in different sizes that will get your ring smaller and smaller. I paid about $200 for these things, but I'm really into the hobby. And when you're into something, you should invest in it. Let's see how these work. Alright, so I've got my custom machine die set up on my arbor press. I went down a couple more sizes on my DAP so that when it squeezes in, it's got room to do that right here. As always, you want to get your coin as perfectly centered in there as possible so that it's not tipped to one side. And then when you got it, just press it down. You can already see that we're more than halfway there. Now let's move over to our ring stretcher. Now this ring stretcher is a pretty cool machine. I of course broke it because I was doing a Morgan dollar and the handle that they included was really weak and I snapped it right off. So now I have to take my needle nose pliers and put it in there. But when you move this up, a little needle comes out the top and will actually expand the ring for you. So what we'll do is we will take the ring that we're working on, set it down on there, and then every time that we stretch it up, we'll make sure that we're rolling it around just like in any of the other stuff that we do. We want to make sure that it stretches evenly, and we'll work our way down the mandrel. So right now we're at about a 7.5, and I'm just going to keep rolling it and working it around. Come down a little bit more, down to about a size 8. Just get that nice and squared off. Keep working it around. And then what we'll do is we'll get out our bastard file again and file it down. Now once you get this thing flattened out and filed down, you want to remember to get your half round again, your half round needle file. Sorry about that. Get your half round needle file, take it in there, and then take out any of the burrs that are on the inside, because that's just another little tip that helps the finished product of while you're stretching it out. So we'll file off all those tiny little burrs that are on the inside, put it back on the ring stretcher, and keep on going. So we're at an 8. I think that we'll try to work our way up to about a 10. And then we'll show you something brand new on there. Just keep rolling it around, making sure that we're staying even while we stretch it, because we don't want a ring that is higher on one side than it is the other. It's just a sign of poor craftsmanship. I do it from time to time, but you know, it's because I'm rushing into it and I get impatient. And this is definitely a hobby where patience is absolutely everything, and good tools. So we'll just take it off every once in a while, inspect it, making sure that we're not getting any tiny tears. Maybe file it down once in a while for the stuff that you can't exactly see. Work our half round in there. Keep the tears down. And keep stretching. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to tuck the fat end, this ring in, make it look like a fat tire on the rear end of a motorcycle. We'll shoot for a 10.5. Put it right kind of in line with the size of the other couple rings that we had made. So now what we're going to want to do, now keep in mind, never not once, let me get you situated, have we used the regular mandrel, the hammer, or anything, and we're already right to the same point where we are with the other rings. But we're not happy with the cone shape. We want to fix that. So let's take care of that. Oh, one more thing. I forgot, because we're going to make this ring rounded, you want to stretch it almost 2 sizes bigger than the end product that you're going to be looking for. And you'll see why here in a second. So what I did is I just stretched it out to just over a 12 because we want it to be in the 10-10.5 range. But let's get set up to tucking the ends in on this. Okay, so I'm going to take my custom die that I got right here, and I'm going to put it into the one that I can just barely get it to fit into, but it does fit, because remember, if it sits outside of it, you're just going to ruin it. So we'll put it like this. Now, you can do the same thing with your doming block. However, I get better results in my custom dies, and so that's what I'm going to use. But what you would do is set it inside of your block, press it down, and it'll tuck the ends in. But let's see what it looks like and how it works with better equipment. So we're all set up in the arbor press, and the nice thing is that this is perfectly flat and it has a really straight throw. I got my cheater bar on it, and let's see if we can do this at the same time and watch it compress. So we'll take it out, and you can already see that the ends are starting to square up for me. So we'll just keep going, and then I'll catch up with you in a minute. Okay, so right now what we did is we tucked the fat end of that coin in. And so when we come on the mandrel, we are lost in the picture. We're not quite, we're smaller than a 10. But what we're going to need to do is actually mill out the inside of the ring, which will make it a comfort band and look a lot nicer on here. But first, what we need to do is shrink this thin end, which was once the middle of our coin. So we'll do the exact same thing, put it inside our die and squish it down to the 10.5 that we're looking for on there. So I'll compress this, and yeah, I'll show you what it looks like. Hang on. So we're all set up. The what was the middle part of the coin is now in the custom die. We'll just press it down a little bit, get that to compress, and take it out and look at it. Starting to get a little more round. We got to do some more though. Set it back up. It's too hard to do with one hand. I'll get right back to you. So here's where we're at so far. We have compressed both ends, nice and squared off, slightly rounded on each side. But like I said before, the fat end with the reeds on it is at a size 9, and the other side, if you can see up in there, it's not even touching it, but it'll fall down to just over 10. So what we have to do is get rid of some of that girth, and we'll mill it out from the inside. Let's do that. So what I got here is a real cheap Dremel imitation, and then it's got this tiny little cutting bit on the top or in the front of it that came with it. And then what I'll do is I will take it and go around and make this part thinner, so when it's on here it comes down to a size 10. So now that I got that all milled out and we are a good even size on both sides, I put a sanding drum on there, and then I will smooth out the inside. I'm going to stay as close to the edge as I can because you don't want to lose any print that's on the inside. That just makes it nice and smooth and easy to wear. Then we'll hit up the other side, just get rid of the little metal burrs. Then what we can do is take a drywall sanding block, shine up the end that was the inside hole, take the whole thing, stick it right on the corner, because that also helps sand out the rough edges of the inside. Now in this video I didn't, really cover anything with silver. Well, what if it's silver? You're going to use leather between anything where it would have been two metal surfaces that were touching each other. And now it's really smooth and comfortable on the inside to wear. So yeah, silver coins, guys, put leather on both sides. You don't want metal touching metal. If you're going to use anything, or you're going to do anything bigger than a $50, anything that we did in an arbor press, you're going to do in the 3-ton hydraulic press. You're just going to need it. But this is our pretty much finished product. Turned out really well. And now I will give you some still shots of what all three of them look like, so you can kind of get an idea of, if I spend this much, what kind of quality am I going to get. In a couple of the shots I'm not going to polish any of them up, and then in another shot I'll polish them all up. And what I did to polish them is I used Mother's aluminum and mag polish, and then my polishing wheel on my miniature grinder thing, whatever it's called. So I hope this helped out, guys. Thank you very much for your patience with me. Check out my other videos, and right now I'm going to do the tool video to tell you where you can get what you need and for how much. We'll see you later. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around this long. Please click any one of the videos surrounding me so you can check out the other videos in this series.